They got Willa. They got my daughter. I need to find her. Ah!
From acclaimed director Paul Thomas Anderson.
You can save that girl.
Today, experience what is being called the best movie of the year.
This is the end of the line. Not for you.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity.
Let's go!
One battle after another. Now playing only in theaters. Experience it in IMAX. Rated R. Under 17 animated without parent.
You can hide.
Finish training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Dripping in gold? That's cool. Dripping in Velveeta's supremely creamy golden cheesiness? That's respect. Elevate your drip with Velveeta's range of outrageously delicious dips and dishes. Shells, cheese, melty blocks, and heat and eat queso that go all in on indulgence. Flex on your fam with a creamy, cheesy masterpiece and go all in on what you love with Velveeta. Respect the drip and satisfy your cravings. Bring home the drip with Velveeta.
You're listening to the Super Rugby Cymru podcast.
Hello and welcome to the SRC podcast. Joining me, Big M, to preview Newport season is their head coach, Tyron Morris. Good evening, how are you?
Good evening, yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for joining me. So let's dive straight in. Who is the coaching team along with yourself at Newport this season?
Well, there's myself as head coach, and this year we've brought in a new forwards coach because Sam Hobbs got made up to the Dragons, which is great for him. We've brought in Kerry Jones, who's got a huge amount of experience, brought him in from RGC. Obviously, he's head Dragons, Worcester. So it's a really good signing for us, that. And then behind, we had a bit of a move around, shuffle around with Gareth Wyatt came available. He's currently with the Wales 18s age grade, and I know him very well from Pontypridd. So I took the opportunity to bring him in as attack coach, and then we moved James Dixon over to defence coach. So there's been a bit of a shuffle around this year, which has been good for us, been good for me. Keeps us all on our toes. It's a new challenge.
Must be handy having someone involved in Wales age grade. You know, a little word in the ear to somebody 17-year-olds. Oh, come to Newport, man. It's good. You like it?
No, that don't happen. You know that don't happen.
All right, then let's talk about your squad. And obviously, you've done really well last season. So who are your key players? Who are the ones we should be looking out for?
Yeah, I think probably can't get away from Matt O'Brien at 10. He's the experienced 10, the puppet master, they like to call him. You know, he's been instrumental in pretty much the whole of Newport since I've been there for 8-9 seasons now. You know, he's one of the best 10s in the Super Cymru League, and it still baffles me how he's not managed to get a regional contract throughout his career, to be honest. But yeah, himself, and you can't look any further than our captain from last year, Ben Roach. He's been a leading example for us. He's great on and off the field. He's really motivated to keep standards really high, which is fantastic for the squad. So, yeah, you know, I'd like to pick probably 5, 6, 7 players. You know, we got strength in depth in our back three. You got Lloyd Lewis, who's lightning, one of the top try scorers last year. So I'm sure he'll be a massive threat again this year.
So a lot has been made of this new Super Rugby Cymru competition that it's going to be about development. So who are your young players and the academy players you have for the Dragons who are going to be, you know, pushing in their first few seasons as senior pros, or semi-pros, I should say?
Yeah, not a lot has changed for us really. Ever since myself particularly been in at Newport, we pride ourselves on what we think Newport is that stepping stone for regional rugby, and for the past 6-7 years we've had a fantastic relationship with the Dragons, and you know, we've been playing these young boys. You know, this isn't a new thing to us. You know, we're playing them year after year, and you know, we take people like Will Reed, George Young, Shea Hope, Even last season with young Harry Ackerman, Joe Westwood, they're playing 14, 15 games for us. And this season now they've managed to step out of that academy into senior rugby, which is fantastic news for us. They are moving on. But unfortunately, we don't get that experience now. So we got the next batch. So we got young Jordan Morris, the Wales 20s, Lou said, Nick Thomas, Wales 20s, second row. And young Ollie Woodman, which is Ryan Woodman's younger brother. Ollie Andrew, and I think that's about it. We got four, 5. We've been quite lucky the last couple of seasons where we've had 8 or 9. But I think it's shared amongst Pontypool who've come up now, so there's less allocated players for each team really. But yeah, as I said, nothing really changes for us when those players become available. They are carrying knocks at the moment. When they come available, we see it part of our duty really and our responsibilities to give these boys the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, and to be fair to Jordan Morris, even though the results at the under-20s Junior World Cup weren't the best, him and Josh Morse, both at Luke said they were two shining lights in that squad, which was great to see for Welsh rugby in general. So we're not too far away from the season kickoff now. So imagine you've been in training for quite a while. So what has training looked like for you? Have you done strength and conditioning blocks? Has it all been rugby from the get-go? How have you managed your squad this season?
Yeah, it's 12 weeks. We set up a 12-week planner. Obviously, it's gradually built up in regards to the conditioning. We're probably at that end peak bit now where we're on our final testing week this week with Broncos and so on. So the guys have had their plans and their off-field stuff as well as on-field training. In regards to on-field stuff, it's been slightly different this year. We've done a little bit more contact early doors. Looking really around that contact area, I felt that teams really went after us there last year. So we spent a lot of detail in that. But yeah, it's always tough. I know as a player, I never really liked pre-season. I much preferred playing, if I'm honest. But yeah, pre-season to us is building up little segments, making sure that the boys are learning and we're adding bolt-ons right throughout the year. So week 1, week 2, maybe just some really high intensity stuff, lots of touches, trying to build as many touches as we can. And then by the time we're into week 10, 12, 11, 12, now we're a little bit into more some gameplay, attack, defense policies, and making sure they're nailed on, ready for that first league game.
So your pre-season fixtures have finished. You've gone for 4 games, 4 wins. Obviously you can't ask for much more than that for a bit of form, morale especially. So what were your major work-ons? I know you just touched on one there, but what were your main focuses on for these games?
Yeah, the US game was very much 150th, so more of a game that celebrated both us and us, but it was an opportunity for us to have a little look at some fringe players. The score probably went ahead of it, nearly 100 points. So we didn't get what we wanted to see really, if I'm honest, in that game. But then the next 3 then were a little tougher. Obviously Brecon had a few boys missing in that, so I was expecting them to be a bit more of a challenge. I think they have 5 or 6 first teamers out. So again, I feel that we may be a little bit undercooked at the moment, if I'm honest, with the level. We've had 3 easy wins or 4 easy wins really. So it's making sure that our mentality is right leading into this game. But yeah, work-ons, it's always something to work on. You feel like you're never going to have 100% complete game, but for us, it's just those little tweaks around our maul drives, and then some of our attacking shapes that Gareth Wyatt has brought in. We're just tweaking that to make sure it's right for the Bridgend game.
So if we go on to talk about your style of rugby now, what would you describe Newport's style of rugby as?
Yeah, I think it's an attacking mindset. We what we really want to do is make sure that we're delivering a rugby performance that both players want to play in, but also supporters want to watch. But the brand of rugby that we play, it is quite wide and entertaining, and we are attack-minded team. But you don't win leagues just by attack, and I think we've spent a considerable amount of time particularly when Sam Hobbs come in, credit to him, our set piece went from probably mid-table, up to top end of the table with our stats. So, I think we have a complete game now, if I'm honest. And that's developed over the last 3 or 4 games. We're not just an attack-minded team. We're tough to beat. We're hard to break down. Our set piece is quality, and I think what's made the difference the last 2 or 3 games is probably our ability to play both kick in and ball in hand.
That's really good to hear for the fans, the casuals as well, that will get to see you on Espedrag, and anyone who just walks us down to the stadium on a Saturday. So you've had a few coaching changes. Obviously, a few, I say senior boys, a few the academy boys have moved on now with the Dragons. So what sort of any challenges that you've faced this season that's been quite niggly or just different?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, when you're having the quality like Harry Ackerman, Joe Westwood, Shea Hope, those type of players, once they go, you've got to try and fill that void really. And we know we've gone from a 30-man squad and we needed to make it 34, 35, and that's a challenge within itself. But the biggest challenge is obviously the player salary cap. That's been a real challenge, if I'm completely honest. The championship are able to probably or some of the teams in our championship have got a bigger budget and probably losing some quality players. But again, like you said, it opens up the door for some of these young players who want to progress their career. So yeah, that's a challenge for us. There's always 1 or 2 injuries that you pick up that you don't want. Last year we lost probably 2 or 3 front row forwards before the season started, and this year we've had a couple of knocks at second row. So look, I'm really pleased where we're at, and I'm happy with the strength in depth, and I'm really looking forward to 2 weeks' time.
So, like I already said, you finished second last season, literally 79-59 on the clock. You were still in the game. It was a 1-score game in our final. So, what are your expectations going into this season?
I think, as it has been the last couple of years, we want to win silverware. It's a new league, a new challenge, and there'll be a little bit more challenge within the top 6 this year. I felt that the league probably split by Christmas time, and I don't think that'll happen throughout this next block. I do think it'll be much more competitive. Look, we're out to win silverware, and first and foremost, we want to try and get into that playoff system and make sure that we're in our final again.
Well, that's great to hear, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Newport play this season, as long as they don't quite pip the Rovers again. You know what I mean? So that was the rugby stuff. So let's see. I've had some terrible answers for this so far. So please, at least just give me an answer. That's all I need. So. How much is a pint in the clubhouse?
It's extortionate in our clubhouse because we have to drink in the Rodney Parade. So I think it's about $5.20.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on for the next one. What should we do? Who's the longest in the shower?
Oh, it's definitely Lloyd Lewis. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's in first, out last, Brill cream on the hair. Yeah, he's definitely last.
Yeah, it does seem the type, It's got to be a winger as well, hasn't it?
Yeah. You wouldn't get any of the ugly forwards in there.
So, aside from Lloyd, who is the club man in Newport? Who's the beating heart of the club?
I probably there's a couple of Newport wall stores already that have been there from before my time, and it'd be hard for me not to pick out Matt O'Brien, Johnny Morris, Rhys Jenkins. Those 3 players have been at Newport for a very, very long time, and there's been many clubs that could have probably poached them away. But if you cut them in half, they are black and amber. So it'd be hard for me just to pick one. I would say I'd go for them 3.
That is everything I've got for you today, Tyron. Thank you very much for joining me, and good luck for the season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
That was the Super Rugby Cymru podcast. Please rate, review and share us on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.